Social media, the great experiment where we all decided to trade our souls for likes, comments, and occasional dopamine hits from strangers we don't care about. Remember when logging off was something you actually did? Yeah, me neither. Now the only thing we log off is our sanity. Welcome to modern existence where the only thing more hollow than your soul is your social media profile. You can scream agony into the void all you want. All that echoes is an ad about some shoes you don't really need. Living in the grand utopia of human connection, digitally wired, perpetually online, and more alone than ever. Isn't it beautiful? You've got hundreds of followers, thousands of friends, yet the only real conversation you've had today was with your cat. But somehow you're still left wondering, why do I feel like I'm dead inside? Well, it's because you probably are. The ring-smeagol relationship you have with your phone, it whispers sweet nothings like, you've got 37 notifications, and for a brief delusional moment you feel important. But let's be real, those notifications, they're just a reminder that you're trapped in a giant digital hamster wheel. Running, clicking, liking, while real-life intimacy goes out the window faster than your last Tinder date ghosted you. But don't worry, you're not alone. You've got all of us here in this echo chamber of existential dread where every swipe, scroll, and post is just another shout into the black abyss. Sure, you can DM someone across the globe in seconds, but heaven forbid you answer a phone call from your mom. But hey, who needs real relationships when you've got a virtual life that's just as meaningless as the real one? Anyways, it's all just pixels and dopamine hits, a curated illusion of connection brought to you by the same technology that made you forget what talking feels like. Psychologically, our brains weren't wired for this. We evolved to bond over shared fires, hunting mammoths and awkward small talk. Now all of that's gone. Ever wonder why after 5 minutes on Instagram, your life feels like a dumpster fire? That's because social media is basically a highlight reel of everyone else's best moments. Psychologists call this social comparison, but really, it's just a fast track to existential despair. Like constantly measuring yourself against someone else's filtered reality would lead you anywhere else. There's something weirdly comforting about sending a meme to someone at 3 a.m. Like, hey, look at this stupid thing, we both exist, haha. Those memes aren't real conversations, and deep down you know it. Face-to-face connections have been replaced with emojis, and now we can barely recognize genuine emotion when we see it. It's the emotional equivalent of having a cotton candy for dinner, all fluff and no substance. Let's get scientific for a second. Every time you scroll, click, or double tap that heart, you're getting a little squirt of dopamine, the same chemical your brain releases when you eat, sleep, and so on. So instead of seeking out real connections or meaningful experiences, you're stuck in an endless loop of chasing tiny hits of validation. And by the time you realize that all those dopamine hits have been nothing but empty calories, you're knee-deep in a Netflix binge, wondering why you haven't felt joy since 2012. What then, when faced with a strange new isolation, does the spirit become? It oscillates between a craving for connection and the recognition that true connection, sincere, grounded in the raw and unfiltered, has been replaced by whispers on the wind, words without bodies, faces without souls. In such moments, irrationality becomes the only solace, a rebellion against the artifice of the age. It is here in the liminal space between what is real and what is perceived that the soul finds itself again, not in the embrace of others but in the rejection of the very structures meant to bind it. For what is this phenomenon but a testament to the absurdity of existence? We wander together yet utterly alone, through a labyrinth of mirrors that show only the surface, never the depths. And as we drift farther from ourselves, the illusions grow bolder, more vivid, until we no longer distinguish between the image and the truth. Yet in this alienation there is a strange kind of freedom, a detachment not only from the world but from the self that was once lost in it. And thus the cycle repeats itself, ever spiraling outward, the search for meaning in a void that offers none, the desperate grasp for connection in a realm where none can truly exist. But perhaps it is in this very futility, in this embrace of nothingness, that the soul can finally rest, untethered, unburdened by the pretense of purpose. Psychologists like Cal Newport advocate for digital minimalism, where we take intentional breaks from social media to reconnect with ourselves and the world around us. Erich Fromm, a social psychologist, believed in the concept of freedom from versus freedom to. Many people mistakenly think social media provides freedom to express, to connect, to share. But Fromm argued that true freedom comes when we free ourselves from external validation. To handle the digital age, Fromm would urge us to cultivate inner freedom, the kind that allows us to detach from the need for constant approval. Real freedom is about self-ownership, not digital enslavement. Existential philosopher Simone de Beauvoir offers a path out of this mess with the concept of intentional living. In her work, de Beauvoir emphasizes the importance of consciously creating our lives instead of passively reacting to external forces. Rather than scrolling mindlessly, take a step back and ask yourself, is this bringing me closer to the life I want to live? Real growth comes from intentionality. So take a step back, unplug, reconnect with what truly matters. The world might be spiraling, but you don't have to. And in the end, it's not about avoiding the void. It's about learning to navigate it, one authentic connection at a time.